A company the United States tried to destroy just built a computer with zero American parts. Not one chip, not one line of code. And they're manufacturing millions of them right now. The technology war everyone thought America was winning? It might already be over. There's a Dutch company most people have never heard of that just got caught in the crossfire of the biggest technology war in history. It's called ASML, and it makes the machines that manufacture every advanced computer chip on the planet. Without ASML, your iPhone wouldn't exist. Your laptop wouldn't work. Modern technology would simply stop. And according to an explosive investigation by Dutch journalists, ASML has been secretly selling advanced chip-making equipment to Chinese military contractors, the exact companies building missile systems, surveillance drones, and quantum computers for Beijing. The accusations are serious. ASML allegedly supplied complete lithography systems to the China Electronics Technology Group Corporation, known as CETC. This isn't a private tech startup. CETC is a massive state-owned weapons manufacturer that sits at the heart of China's defense industry. But here's where it gets complicated. ASML fired back, claiming the equipment uses outdated technology that can't produce cutting-edge chips. They argue they're just a business following the law, and if governments wanted to stop these sales, they should have made them illegal. So what's really happening? Is this a national security disaster, or much ado about nothing? To understand, we need to look at what technology was sold, who got it, and why it matters. ASML makes lithography machines, the most sophisticated manufacturing equipment ever created. These machines etch microscopic patterns onto silicon wafers to create computer chips. They come in two types. The older deep ultraviolet machines, or DUV, can make chips with features as small as 38 nanometers. The newer extreme ultraviolet machines, or EUV, can produce chips at 8 nanometers and smaller. For perspective, a nanometer is 1/1000th of a meter, tinier than a virus. Those numbers represent enormous differences in capability. Modern smartphones and AI processors require those ultra-small 8-nanometer chips. That's what makes your devices fast and powerful. So when ASML says they only sold old technology, they're technically correct. The DUV systems can't manufacture the most advanced chips available today. But here's the problem. While 38-nanometer chips won't power the latest iPhone, they're perfect for military applications. Missile guidance computers, radar systems, satellite equipment, these don't need bleeding-edge technology. They need reliability and sufficient power, which 38-nanometer chips provide beautifully. Industry experts who reviewed the investigation expressed serious concerns. Even older lithography equipment represents critical infrastructure for building domestic chip manufacturing. You don't jump from zero capability to making advanced processors overnight. You start with older technology, train engineers, establish processes, and work your way up. By providing DUV equipment, ASML may be helping China build the foundation for future semiconductor independence, exactly what Western sanctions were designed to prevent. The customers make this even more troubling. CETC operates directly under China's central government and manufactures radar systems for fighter jets, electronic warfare equipment, and military-grade semiconductors. They've worked on China's space program and produced chips specifically for weapon systems. The second customer is the Shenzhen International Quantum Academy. This sounds academic, but Dutch intelligence has issued warnings about China's quantum computing development. Why? Because quantum computers could break the encryption protecting everything from bank accounts to military communications. A nation achieving quantum supremacy could decrypt classified information and gain unprecedented cyber warfare advantages. Selling lithography equipment to quantum researchers isn't like selling smartphones. It's potentially enabling technology with profound security implications. Here's where things get interesting. ASML claims everything they sold was completely legal. The Dutch government confirmed the equipment wasn't subject to export restrictions. An official statement explained that not all high-tech products qualify as sensitive or strategic. But, experts identified a massive loophole. What if you sell all the parts of a prohibited system separately instead of as a complete package? You're not technically exporting a complete machine, just components that happen to work together perfectly. It's like claiming you didn't sell someone a car. You just sold them an engine, transmission, wheels, and chassis that can be assembled into a vehicle. Same result, different legal classification. Judith Samajian, a China policy expert at Rand Corporation, highlighted this exact problem. The Dutch government has no framework for controlling individual components, only complete systems. Without that capability, companies can technically comply with rules while completely circumventing their intent. While this semiconductor drama unfolded, something even more shocking happened. In 2019, the US government banned Huawei from using Google services and cut them off from advanced chip manufacturing. Analysts predicted the Chinese giant would collapse. Instead, Huawei did the unthinkable. They built everything themselves: operating systems, app stores, cloud services, and the processors to power it all. At the center sits a chip called the Kunpeng 920. Originally designed for data centers, Huawei adapted it for consumer computers, creating an entire PC ecosystem independent of American technology. The results are staggering. Harmony OS now runs on over 900 million devices. In China, it captured 25% of the smartphone market. Huawei's app marketplace serves 580 million monthly users. In 2024, they shipped 35 million smartphones, a 40% increase while Android growth stagnated. These aren't just numbers. They prove Huawei built and sustained a Google-free ecosystem that satisfies millions. And it happened while under extreme Western sanctions. So, what's it actually like to use a Harmony OS computer? Well, the MateBook series features these devices that are honestly lighter than most tablets, and they even come with foldable 18-inch OLED displays. Large files open almost instantaneously, and the battery life, get this, exceeds 10 hours. But, the real innovation is in cross-device collaboration. You can control your computer, phone, and tablet all with just one keyboard and mouse. The system is smart enough to detect which device you're looking at and moves the cursor automatically. Pretty wild, right? Files transfer between devices without any cables, without uploading to the cloud, and basically without any delay. The AI assistant Celia executes voice commands instantly. During demonstrations, engineers showed it transforming 2-hour meeting recordings into comprehensive presentations in under a minute. Now the challenge? Software compatibility. Windows has like hundreds of thousands of apps. Harmony OS launched with 150 and is targeting 2,000 by the end of 2025. Essential tools are already there: office suites, video editors, social platforms. But specialized Western software isn't available yet. However, Chinese universities are now teaching Harmony OS development, and students are creating applications that just aren't possible on Windows or Mac. The ecosystem honestly is growing really rapidly. On November 2nd, 2025, Huawei released something unprecedented: the Chen W515Y and W585Y desktop computers. These machines contain 0 American components. They run on the Kirin 9000X processor, an 8-core chip that, interestingly, Huawei hasn't even officially announced exists. No press release, no specs on their website. Yet it's already in commercial computers selling throughout China right now. Manufactured by China's SMIC using 7-nanometer processes, these are the exact chips American export controls said were impossible to produce. This matters enormously for American companies. Intel generated over $15 billion from China in 2024. That's nearly 30% of its total revenue. That's now at risk because Chinese agencies must replace foreign technology with domestic alternatives by 2027 under the Xinjiang policy. Analysts estimate Intel faces an immediate $1.5 billion revenue hit just from government purchases stopping. And that's really just the beginning. These Chen desktops don't run Windows or Mac OS. They use completely Chinese-developed operating systems, Tongxin UOS and Galaxy Kylin. Both are built on Linux, but have been extensively modified for security. A market of 1.4 billion people is transitioning away from Microsoft Windows, which, by the way, runs on 70% of desktops globally. The previous generation Chen desktop achieved 98.4% localization. Nearly every component was designed and manufactured in China. The Wi-Fi modules, Huawei made, graphics processors, storage controllers, all produced internally. Most computer makers source these from Intel, Qualcomm, or Broadcom. Huawei isn't buying from anyone. We're witnessing, honestly, the birth of a multipolar technology world. For decades, everyone just assumed American and European companies would permanently dominate semiconductors, operating systems, and manufacturing equipment. But that assumption is crumbling. China has demonstrated it can build viable alternatives when it's motivated. These products might not match Western ones in every specification, but they're good enough for massive markets that prioritize sovereignty over performance. And this trend extends beyond China. India is exploring partnerships with non-Western companies. Saudi Arabia, for example, announced a $100 billion AI initiative building infrastructure independent of American platforms. Brazil's technology strategy explicitly discusses sovereignty as a strategic priority. Export controls and sanctions, while definitely painful, may actually accelerate rather than prevent development. When you tell a nation they can't access critical technology, you create powerful incentives to develop it domestically. China has now proved it has the resources and capability. Markets in Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America are watching closely. These regions could provide fertile ground for Harmony OS expansion as developers create localized applications. The question for Western companies isn't whether China can build alternatives. That's already been answered. It's really about how quickly those alternatives spread globally and what that means for business models built around technological monopolies. So, does Harmony OS destroy Windows? Not yet, and maybe never completely. But it definitely proves monopolies can be challenged, and innovation emerges from unexpected places when necessity demands it. Huawei faced sanctions designed to cripple them, lost Google and Microsoft access, and responded by constructing an entire ecosystem from scratch. That's organizational resilience you rarely see in corporate history. The significance isn't whether individuals buy Harmony OS computers. It's about what this represents: competition returning where it disappeared, innovation accelerating because monopolies face challenges, and consumers benefiting from genuine choices. ASML's struggle reveals just how difficult regulating technology transfers has become. Loopholes and workarounds show that determined actors will always find paths around restrictions. The future won't be written by a single country. It'll emerge from competition between different visions and approaches. Huawei has ensured their vision will be a major part of that conversation. The real question isn't whether China can build competitive technology. They clearly can. It's about what kind of world we want: technology concentrated in a handful of Western companies or multiple regions competing and pushing each other toward better solutions. That answer will shape the next 50 years of technological development. And honestly, based on Huawei's transformation, that future is arriving faster than anyone expected. The technology war everyone thought was one-sided, it just became a real competition. And competition, ultimately, is what drives humanity forward.